We get inside the minds of amazing individuals.
Of amazing comedians, amazing people, entrepreneurs, multi-hyphens. It doesn't matter what. On this show, it's all about the discovery, and I hope that you got a good feel for what I discovered today, and that's just dope energy. Ladies and gentlemen, you already know what this is. This is Gold Mines. Welcome to an all-new episode of Gold Mines, where we do what? What do we do here? What do we do? I asked that to all of my listeners. And you know what? I imagine that when I asked that question, you guys are all saying at the same time, get inside the minds of amazing people. Because I've been saying it so much. I truly do believe that it's embedded in your goddamn heads. Because that's what I feel we all need. We need information. And where is information at? Well, it's all over. The question is who's willing to give it? I am. I got my hand raised if you can see me. And today I feel like so much information will be given because I'm talking to a legend. Goddamn, how many times do I get to say that on this show? I get to say it all the time because I have talked to legends. And the beauty of talking to legends is that you realize there's so many because they're so different. You can be a legend and do so many different things, but the idea and concept of being a legend or being legendary, it comes with achievements. It comes with longevity. It comes with a resume. More importantly, it comes with relationships. It comes with a foundation. It comes with a building full of goddamn bricks that you are personally responsible for putting in that goddamn building hand by hand. Oh my God, what a building this one's going to be. Guys, I'm excited as hell to introduce my next guest. Starred in hit movies, and I'm going to go from the beginning, and I can't go to the end. I could be here all fucking day if I wanted to. True Lies, Knives Out, Everything Everywhere, All at Once in the Halloween franchise. By the way, Oscar attached to Everything Everywhere, All at Once. A New York Times bestselling author. You see how it's starting to goddamn divvy up and go all over the place? Once again, an Oscar winner. You know how hard it is to do that? I still haven't gotten one. Fuck. I've been trying. I got a bunch of People's Choice Awards. That's my place. That's my foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to actually call her a co-star in my next movie, Boarderlands, which comes out August 9th. Please welcome Jamie Lee Curtis. Come on. Holy cow. Holy cow. Come on. Right there. Look at that. How is she still cool? How does she do it?
She's so cool. Why do you wear sunglasses, Kevin Hart?
You know I wear sunglasses.
I asked him, no, why? Because of what?
Well, it's because of my drainage.
It's drainage.
She knows. So, you know what? And I'll tell this so you guys can be aware and all understand. Everybody thinks that I wear sunglasses because I'm attempting to be cool. If you notice, I only wear them if it's during certain interviews. Like if I'm on like a promo tour or if it's like late night TV and it's at the latest, when I get tired, it shows in my eyes. So your eyes can sometimes make you just look a little less interesting if they don't pop the way they're supposed to. So out of fear of that, dark glasses take it away. So my energy, my posture still tells the story that I want. I don't want my eyes to fucking throw you guys for a loop. You see that?
I know, but your eyes are what's going to tell people how hard you work.
Well, yeah, that's
you know what? A lens
too.
Does not let people know how hard you work. Yeah. And if what you started this whole thing with is true.
Yes.
And it's about hustle.
Yes.
And about bricklaying and about the sort of sweat equity of a life.
Mm-hmm.
If you wear glasses, then you don't get to see it. See, I want to see. I'm not suggesting you take them off here. But I'm simply saying that it might ultimately back up your claim that that's in fact what makes a person. That's why people like me who have wrinkles all over their faces, who are trying to live in a world without changing that, you do that because you want to convey, I've lived in a world. Mm-hmm. And so if I all of a sudden fuck with my face to the degree where I look like someone who hasn't lived in the world, then I'm belying the very fact of living in the world. It's like a completely fucked up metaphor.
You know, what's funny is I was performing in St. Louis. This is this past weekend. I was in St. Louis. I was in Kansas City. And
you hustle. Listen, if anybody hustles, and you know I love a good hustle. You know I love hustle.
Yes, ma'am.
I love it. I live for it.
Yes,
I wake
ma'am.
up hustling. You hustle.
Yes, ma'am.
You
yes.
freaking
I love it.
hustle.
You just said something though that I touched on this past weekend. So the name of this tour is Acting My Age, and what you just said, you were like, you were saying like we're living in a time where people are afraid. People are afraid to embrace, that concept of getting older, of life lived, and what the representation of that is. And I said, at this point in my life, I've found the value in understanding what older age actually represents. And what it represents is, life lived experience. And more importantly, with that, you're able to feed a younger generation with the tools that they need to not only survive and do great things, but the ammunition to possibly surpass and do more than what you were able to do.
Sure.
And in this time, I feel like younger people thrive in the chaos of, no, y'all don't know shit. Nah, man, y'all don't know nothing. I ain't got time to talk to you. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to know that. You don't understand. There's so much value that comes from a story. And the beauty of people with those stories is all they're waiting for is somebody to ask. That's all they're waiting for. They're waiting for someone to ask.
Yeah, but they've also put a pejorative on it because they've
word.
added the term anti-aging.
What a fucking word.
But the idea that what you're trying to do is anti-age versus the truth, which is like we age. People, like, that's just what happens. And so I agree with you, but it's also what has been marketed to them.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's sad to me.
Yes.
And I've been a fairly vocal advocate for it because I have very publicly said that I think it's a genocidal attack on something natural and beautiful. And I'm terrified of where we're going. Because if this is what we're doing now, if the pharmaceutical and cosmeceutical industrial complex is so intent on destroying the beautiful nature of human beings by trying to fill them and augment them and change them, then we are fucked. We are so fucked as a society, and I'm concerned about it. And so I'm happy to hear you talk about this in a very real form. The best thing young people can do when they look at you, besides your tiny lip gloss, which is like... Kevin Hart has just, you might as well get a picture of it, camera crew. It's the smallest Vaseline container you've ever seen in the history of mankind. It's like those little miniature hot sauces that we used to get. Kevin Hart has this little miniature Vaseline dip.
Teeny, I got a bunch of them.
No, I know, because you like to have moisturized lips, and I've kissed them, and they're very moist. But my point is simply, what you're talking about, though, is the best thing for you to do is continue to hustle, because young people who like you, they don't see you laying around.
Yeah.
They don't see you posing as you. They see you actively doing it. And I think that's very helpful for them.
I think it's the beauty of transparency, right? What you just said is extremely powerful, right? Like you're talking about just embedding an understanding of joy and beauty into who and what you are and what you should understand you will be. And at the end of the day, the grassroots of the definition is we do age. We get older. It's just what people do. And when you get older, it's something that actually should be celebrated. And in a time today, I do understand your point of how it's the opposite. People frown upon it. People get sad about it. And it's a little more difficult from the perception that we as marketers or advertisers are positioning it, right? And I think that there's just a counter to that. Not to say, I want to say, fuck you and your business, whatever you're doing. I don't have to do that. I can just celebrate the concept of where I am and how joyful I am about getting older and about seeing the benefit of being able to talk to my kids about life lived.
Yeah.
About seeing the benefit about getting to share memories with my friends of the times of. As you get older, you mature, you do different things, and you experience life through a different lens. And the dope part about that is reflecting on when you saw it through another lens. And when you saw it through a lens before that lens, it comes in so many different stages. And those stages provide more clarity each and every single time you step up.
Well, you're talking about evolution.
Great
you're
word.
talking about an
Two good
evolution of a
words.
human being, and that what's really lucky for you and me, Kevin Hart, is we're sitting here at a point where we're both evolving. We have a movie coming out together, but I don't even know how old you are. But what?
45.
Okay. Oh, I sent you. Did you ever get
Yes.
that song? I sent
Yes.
you that Elvis Costello
You
song
sent
called
me
45.
You sent me that, and you also sent me a dope ass fucking thing of books. You
Yeah,
sent me
well,
my kids and stuff book.
Yeah,
the
I
best
know, but
gift
that's-
giver, the best gift giver, the most thoughtful person. I'm serious, like the smallest shit.
It's my love language.
The smallest
I've heard that,
shit.
like, apparently that's, it's yours too? Yes, it's apparently, do you know about the love languages?
I do know about, I know my love language, and I do know love language.
What's your love language?
My love language is I'm a nurturer. I'm a provider. That's how I show my affection. I am one that tries my best to nurture, take care of, and do whatever I can to make sure others have. I'm all about others before I'm about myself.
Yeah,
That's my love language. Now, I'm not a big words of affirmation, and like I know some people need that. I don't thrive there, and I think that's something that I had to get better with, not just in my relationship, but in my workspace, of making sure that people were aware of their value, of the job they do, or how much that they make you happy, and making sure that your words aren't hidden because you feel them and you just keep it in your head.
Yeah.
Some people need to hear it, and some people thrive off of that. So the thing that I understood most about love language was trying your best to communicate with people based off of what theirs was, and not just sitting in your space. But you, as a gift giver, oh my God!
Well, but it's because it's your way of saying, "I see you. I want to share something with you." I mean, look. It's not meant on a monetary. By the way, it isn't a monetary gift. It's a mind gift. It's a gift of thought. And then action, ultimately.
The thing that you did that was so amazing to me. So, and I'm going to get into like the world before, but I think this is a good entry that provides a segue to get into the business and work and et cetera. But for you, we did this movie Boarderlands together, and Jamie has been in the movie business for years, and I love to be around what I call the pioneers and the vets, because I love to see how people approach the craft. How do you get ready for your day? How do you study your material? How do you break down scenes? I'm trying to leave this set with information or context attached to the job that I didn't have before. The first thing that stood out to me about Jamie, she wanted everybody in name tags on the set. And by everybody, not just the actors and actresses that were extras, etc. The crew, from the cameraman to the catering to the transportation, whoever is there, name tag. Because Jamie felt that it's best to see people, know their name, and say their name. And then as the days go on set, you're addressing people and they feel like you give a shit.
But you do give. But by the way, it's not. I'm saying it's you
that was
could
fucked up
do
the way
that.
I said it. I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying you could do
did.
that as an exercise and not give a shit.
Yeah.
And just do it as an exercise, or you could actually give a shit.
Yes.
There's something really uneven about our position on a set, on a movie, in this arena. You guys know our names. We don't know yours. There's something inequitable to me about that. That is not on a movie set. If we were all working together, by the end of today, I would know if we were all working together, we would all be wearing name tags so that tomorrow when we came in, what is your name, for instance?
Sabine.
So I would be able to, because Sabine and I, we share a love language, I would be able to then say, "Good morning, Sabine," without even thought, because I've learned her name. And it's not out of I want you to, I just want it to be equitable, because it's an important thing. We're art. It's art. There isn't hierarchy in art. It's supposed to be a group of people. We can't do our job without you can't do this show without the crew who create the sound system that we're talking into any more than you can do your show. I guess this goes up on something. So you have to have camera teams doing it. You have to have the lighting people who've come in and lit us. Like it's all, and then the post-production people who cut it together. All of those people conspire together with you to make a show that's called Gold Mines, which is your name there. But you, Kevin Hart, can't do the show without all those people. And I believe that is the gorgeousness of a collaborative art form. But I'm going to tell you where it came from. You talked about from back when. My mother married a businessman. My parents were married, movie stars. They divorced when I was 3. My mother married a stockbroker. And he opened his own company. He was a Marine. He was very strict. He was big and tall and handsome and sweet and an athlete, but he was a businessman. And he started a company with his partner. And they started a business. They had an idea, and they started it with a card table, telephone books for every major city in the United States, and 2 rotary phones. Dial, dial, dial. And they had this, anyway, it's unimportant how they built their business. It was about big amounts of stocks being traded. So if I called First Bank of Boston and said, "Hi, my name is Robert Brandt from Brandt Zwick and Company. We deal in big stock trading. Are you looking to buy or sell any big stock?" And let's say the guy said from First Bank, "Yes, we're looking to buy IBM, 50,000 shares of IBM." "Okay, thank you." And he would put on a board, buy 50,000 shares IBM First Bank Boston. And then and literally all day long at a card table, 2 phones, dial every big institutional company in the United States. And at one point he was talking to Wells Fargo in Nebraska. And on that phone call, "Hi, my name is Robert Brandt, Brandt Zwick and Company. We deal in institutional trading. Are you looking to buy or sell any big blocks?" And the guy would say, "Yes, we're looking to buy." This was before the internet. This was before there was any interconnection. And they would say, "Yes, we would like to buy. We're looking to buy IBM." And then he would go to the board and go, "Ooh, buy, sell IBM, buy IBM." They would make a match. They would call the companies and say, "Will you do?" "Yes." And then they take a percentage. That's how he built his business. Now, the reason I'm going to tell you the story, he married a movie star, my mother, Janet Leigh. Beautiful, incredibly beautiful woman. Fantastic actress. Came from nothing. From nothing. You getting your lip gloss? Okay. I don't know. You were getting nervous, and I was worried that your lips were dry. I want to keep you lubed, and I mean that. Oh, please. I'm 66. I'm so fucking old. You don't even want to think about it. And my father, Bob Brandt, businessman, Marine. I had to say yes, sir, and yes, ma'am. I grew up, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. They would host, let's say they went on a business trip and they went to Boston, and they would host at the hotel they were staying in a cocktail hour. My parents, for 3 days before that trip, would sit with index cards at the dining room table, and my mother would quiz Bob, and Bob would quiz my mother, and he'd say, "Bob and Mary McMeacham," and then she would say, "and their children are Carol and Steve goes to University of Wyoming." So that when they went to Boston and they hosted the cocktail party at the Hilton, and those people walked in with name tags, that my mother would say, "Mary, how great to see you. How's he doing at university?" Whatever. And those people left that gathering driving home going, "Janet Leigh remembered our son goes to the University of Wyoming." Wow. That's what I was raised with.
Wow.
So if you wonder why I put name tags on people, I do it so that, because I saw it. I watched my parents do it and quiz each other. And it wasn't just like it was over and over again until they got it right. And they did that in every city they would go to. So to me, that shows people that you care, that you're interested, that you want to Let them know they're not just some financial number to you, but that they are human beings, whether or not they really, 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 really got into the weeds of that family. There was an assumption of familiarity and friendship. And that, to me, is what name tags do.
Man, it's so opposite, because I just remember my dad, and my dad would see people and I would go, Dad, who's that? Goddamn, that's shit. Hey, man, what is that their name? What's that's where I came up at, and it's and I also came up in the nickname era where the lazy approach. So rather than learning somebody's name, hey, what's going on, Black Jacket? Like you just say the most obvious thing. Hey man, what real quick, Boots? And somebody's like, yeah, me. Yeah, that's what it is. But you set a tone. You set a tone on that set, and the tone and the energy. It was it was contagious. Everybody fed off of the environment that I can say everybody had a part in building it, but you definitely were the caretaker. You were the mother. You made sure people felt valued, and you did it in so many clever ways, whether it was for the treats and cakes that you would give, just like I said, the name tags, or just being overall just alert and conscious to, hey, everybody, is such and such's birthday. And it was, those are the things that I think I walked away with, and I said, moving forward, when I'm on a set, I'm going to make sure that I set a tone. I follow suit. There's no excuse for me not to know names.
And I'm saying that may look like I did that.
Yeah.
But I was raised by a Marine who learned the names of people in his business, and I watched that. And I watched people respond to that, because I would go to those cocktail parties occasionally, and you could see it palpably had an effect.
Yeah.
I will tell you a story. It's since this is freeform. We did the Halloween 2018 movie. We did Halloween a long time ago, 1978, and then we did a 40-year anniversary. It was called Halloween again in 2018, and then we did 3 of them in a row. We did the most recent Halloween.
How many total?
Have I been in 7 or 8? I don't even remember. I honestly don't. I don't remember because they don't all link up. Some are just awful, and it's fine. Whatever, it's fine. But that's not the point. The point is this, and it's important. So I started
soul plane.
I started that movie wanting everybody to wear name tags, and you say grab name tags. They often get those "Hi, my name is," and then you write your name. And we did that on the first 2 weeks of the movie. Every crew member wore name tags. Until I started to actually know people's names, which is what happens. So it's the 2018 movie. It's this incredibly emotional journey of Laurie Strode, of really finally meeting Michael Myers in this very cathartic way. And it was my last day of the movie. And the last day of the movie, Laurie Strode, all that was left to shoot, dark night in Charleston, like an hour and a half out of Charleston. It was awful, in this awful place. And it was when Laurie Strode is at the maximum security prison watching the bus or truck that Michael Myers has been put in drive away from the institution, because he's going to go be put in a supermax and be locked away forever. And Laurie Strode is there at the gates of this building waiting to see that, in fact, he leaves the prison and that he's going to go to a supermax. And it's this long of a section of the script. There's no real dialogue. It says Laurie sits alone in her truck. There's a gun and a bottle of whiskey and 40 years of memories of the trauma of all the violence and the history for her. That's literally what it's written, and it all comes out. That's how it's written in the script. Like, there's no specific dialogue.
Basically, figure it out.
It's just basically, Laurie has a nervous breakdown in a truck, is really what it's saying. And, I'm an actor. So you show up for work, you get your stuff on, you go sit in your trailer, you do your preparation, whatever, and then they call for you. And, they call for you, meaning come and have a nervous breakdown. And they knocked on my trailer and said they're ready. So, okay. And I walked out of my trailer. And I'm telling you, it was a little red pickup truck in the middle of a field with a chain link fence behind it. And there were 2 cranes, a camera on a dolly. There were probably 200 people standing in a semicircle around this little truck, you know, in the middle of a parking lot. And as I walked toward the truck, the entire crew was standing at attention. They all stood with their hands behind their back, like at attention. As I walked in, it was silent. It was pin silent. And as I walked closer to them, it would be as if all of you were standing up silently with your hands behind your back. And everyone was wearing a name tag. And it said, "We are Laurie Strode."
Wow. Wow.
So 200 people were wearing name tags saying, "We are Laurie Strode." And they were silent. And I walked through them and I started crying before I got past 2 people.
Wow.
By the time I got to that truck, I was overcome. I got in that truck and David called rolling. And for 20 minutes, I lost my shit.
Wow.
But I lost it because I could, because I was safe, because I knew these people had my back.
Wow.
They knew what I had to go do, and they were saying, "We are with you. We are behind you. We are you. You go do it, and you'll be okay." And I'm telling you, I've been an actor for a long, long, long time. That has never happened. And that happened on the set of Halloween. And it was a direct result of assigning name tags, asking people so that we could know each other. And what they were saying is, "I know you, and I know you need this right now, that you don't have to do this alone, Jamie." And it was, without question, the most moving moment for me on a movie set ever will ever be, because they literally gave me the scene. And it was out of their respect for me and my respect for them.
I think that's a great moment for me just to ask you, like, you're talking about acting. You've been doing it for such a long time. You talked about your mother, who was an actress.
Father was an actor.
Is it safe to assume, I mean, watching the success of them sparked the world of interest for you, or did it come from somewhere else?
No.
What acted as the trigger for you to say, "I too want to partake in this business"?
You know what? Honestly, I have to remind people, before there were videotapes, if your parents were in something, it was in the movie theater. You didn't see it. Mm-hmm. Like, I never saw my parents' movies. Mm-hmm. And then when TV started, once in a while, one of their movies would be on TV, but I wouldn't really see them. Mm-hmm. I knew they were, like, my parents were famous. I knew that. But I didn't know what the craft was. I didn't know what the job really was, because it wasn't, I watched the Brady Bunch. I watched, like Gilligan's Island. I mean, like, that was important to me. My parents' movies didn't have any effect on me whatsoever. I was never supposed to be an actor. It was interesting. The opposite is what I really saw from their success, which was when you get it taken away from you. Mm. So my parents were these incredibly successful movie stars who, by the time I could figure it out, they were no longer getting to work. They were aging. They had aged out.
What was that timeline when you say by the time I figured it out? Like, what?
When you're a teenager and you start to, as you said, get the spark of something. By that point, my parents had both lost their stardom. Their fame never goes away. Fame sticks to you. But stardom, the access to work, the access to conversation, starts becoming farther and fewer between. And what I actually saw was not the spark of what they did. I actually saw the sadness
of what they became.
That happens when people stop calling you. Yeah. It was actually palpable. So that was the truth. I didn't spark to this because I was like, "Oh, I want to do what they're doing. That's hot." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I actually saw the result of it. And of course, there was alcoholism and all sorts of other things involved. But I became an actor by accident. I was never going to be an actor. I could barely spell actor. I'm very poor. I'm not poorly educated, but I was not a student. I'm a bad student. I barely crawled out of high school. I went to 3 high schools. That'll tell you everything. You go to 3 high schools. I mean, I was just running. I just couldn't get out of a school fast enough.
I went to community college.
Well, look at, God bless you. I went to college. I went to the only college that accepted me with my D plus 840 combined SAT scores.
You know, I want to make this very clear. I went to community college because that's the only option I had. I wasn't like me bragging.
I appreciate that you went to community college and
comfortable when you say like.
No, I'm just letting you know. The college I went to, they accepted that I was accepted to, accepted me with a D plus 840 combined SAT score, and might have had my mother as an alumni who was the most famous woman to have ever graduated from the college. So did they want me with my D plus average? Yeah. And I had no business in that school. I had no business going to college. Higher education was not for me. I was not a student. But I went my freshman first couple months, and, you know, I was going to be a cop. And I thought,
be a cop, really?
I thought I would study corrections and social work.
I can see it.
I am a cop.
I can see
mean,
it.
I'm totally, look at me.
Yeah.
A cop.
It's definitely
cop.
given. I'm going to read you.
I'm giving cop.
Yeah.
And it's too long of a story. I came home at Christmas, my freshman year, and I ran into a friend. I went to a friend of mine's house who lived in Beverly Hills, and her parents had a tennis court in their backyard. And when you have a tennis court, often a tennis teacher will come to you and say, hey, can I use your court to teach tennis? And I will give your family tennis lessons for free. That happens when someone has a tennis court. And so I went to visit my friend who had a tennis court and had a tennis teacher who came up to me. I knew him for years. And he said, hi, Jamie, I'm managing actresses now. Of course you are. He was a tennis teacher, and he's now managing a hustler, right? Hustler. I'm managing actresses now. Yeah, you are. And he said, they're looking for Nancy Drew. You should go up for it. Because I was, 18?
Yeah.
17, 18, brown hair, cute, whatever. And I said, oh, okay, sure. Okay. And I went and auditioned for it. And that was in December of whatever year it was. And I didn't get the part, but he said, they really liked you. You should stick around. Now, the college I went to, the month of January, you were allowed to you could take one class for the month. So if I was at college, I could have chosen an English class and taken a month of it and gotten a credit for that class. Anyway, that was how the school ran.
Wow.
So I called the college and I said, hey, can I take the month of January and try to break into show business? And I'll write a paper for the drama class, and I'll take dance lessons and acting lessons, and I'll go on auditions and I'll write a paper. And they said yes. So for the month of January,
that's school that for me. Jesus Christ.
No, but I mean, it was an independent. It was like, can I do an independent study for the month and get credit for the drama department for a month? Anyway, and I did that, and I went on auditions and blah, 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 living at home with my parents. And they, it's too long. I'm telling you, these stories are too long.
I'm engaged.
The movie business used to have something called a contract system. Mm-hmm. They would put under contract. You've all heard the phrase, you've been put under contract. They would keep a stable of actors under contract, pay them very little, and then put them into movies. And then if they popped, instead of having to pay that person a lot of money, they had them under contract for a very low amount of money. It was like a supporting way of developing talent. It was how the studio system used to run. And Universal still had a contract system. And so Chuck Binder, the manager, now a very successful manager now, said to me, they would like to meet you at the Universal contract system. And so I auditioned for that system at the end of January. This was like January 24th. And I was going back to college on January 30th or whatever. And I remember I auditioned for this program, And I said to the woman, I had balls then, I was like, hi, listen, this was really fun. Just so you know, I'm going to go back to college on the 30th, so I need to know if this is going to work out or not. And they gave me a contract. So I signed a 7-year contract that January and quit college because I had no business in college. And that's how I became an actor. I was never supposed to be an actor, never had thought about it, never in my wildest dreams. And now I'm sitting here with you talking about a 45-year acting career.
Wow.
That's how I became an actor. I wasn't supposed to be an actor. I was going to be a cop.
What a story. What a story. All right. So, like, you know, by the way, like, I love listening because then I get to come back and share the things that I heard that stood out. So through this 7-year contract, you know,
I didn't last very long in the 7-year contract.
My next question was going to be like, you know, through the 7-year contract, you know, did it present itself to be the thing of value that you assumed it would be, or did struggle appear immediately? Like, did you last? Did you not last? Like, what was the perception of the business in the early stages? And did that perception break you to where you felt like, oh, fuck, I got to go back to school, or I got to get a job, or I got to do something else because this isn't it?
Well, I want to remind you that I was 18 years old and earning $200 a week, which at the time, all my friends were in college. So I was earning, you know, $800 No, my rent was $200 a month, $220 a month. I think I was maybe making $800 a month, $600 a month, whatever. It wasn't a lot of money. It wasn't big money. It was that, but I was earning money. I couldn't believe I was earning money. The contract system was interesting because they have the option, you don't. You sign the 7-year contract. They have every 6 months an option to pick you up and continue you or not. So you're always on the line, always thinking you're going to lose your job. Because if you don't get work or if you're whatever, they're going to let you go. Quote, that's the phrase. They're going to let you go. So there was always that frisson of concern that you were going to lose your job. I very quickly ended up on a TV series, which was also, it was called Operation Petticoat, and it was based on a movie that my father starred in with Cary Grant about a pink submarine in the middle of World War II, where a submarine picks up 5 Army nurses who are stranded on an atoll somewhere, and that's what the movie's about. And the TV series was based on that, and so we were 5 Army nurses on this thing. Anyway, I did this TV series, and I got fired from the TV series.
Oh no!
And when I got fired along with, there were 13 regulars, 11 of us got fired after the first season. But I was on an ABC half-hour single camera comedy called Operation Petticoat in 1978.
Wow.
Yeah, in 1977.
Operation Petticoat. Any names that we recognize that were part of that
John
show?
Astin, who was Gomez in the Addams Family, was the director of the TV movie that we turned into a TV series. And then he ended up being in the show because he couldn't find someone to play the part that he was going to play. So he was in the show, no one else you would know of. And we ran for a season, and then they fired us all and kept the show. Please. It was ridiculous because the premise was stupid anyway. Because in a movie, it's 2 hours. So you get 5 Army nurses, get on for an hour and 20 minutes. They're on this sub. You bang into each other with your, you know, in the tight quarters. Well, no, but I mean, that's the whole joke. The whole joke was you're in a submarine. You've got women and men.
She threw us for a little loop.
You know, the submarine lists.
We didn't know
the
this
women
was a
fall on the man.
R-rated series that they you bang into them on a submarine. Whoa, hold on, Jamie. Jesus Christ. All right, I get it.
But the premise, Kevin Hart, the premise is that you've got 5 Army nurses on a Navy sub, and when the Navy sub gets to a base or a port, the 5 Army nurses are gonna get off. It's the sort of, they're trapped for an hour. You know what I mean? The problem with the TV series is that it makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
Why don't they just get off?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense.
You don't
and
ask
yet
that question
somehow,
till episode 8.
Somehow, but somehow they felt that it behooved them to keep the premise of the show going. But the problem with the show were the actors.
Yeah.
So they fired us all. And the reason I'm telling you this is when I was told by the head of the contract department that I had been fired from a TV series, you can only imagined that my next option was going to mean I'm done. Yeah. I had a shot. I got fired. I'm done. And I talked about this. I told this story at the SAG Awards this last year, 2 years ago. If I hadn't gotten fired from Operation Petticoat, I would have never auditioned for Halloween because I thought my life was over. I thought I was going to lose my contract, and I thought I was going to have to go back to college, where I had no business being in the first place. And instead, I auditioned for this little, tiny, micro-budget, low-budget horror film that was being made for nothing, for a couple $100,000. And if I had not been fired, I would not have been available to audition for that. And that obviously had a big effect on my life. And they canceled the show after 2 episodes the next season anyway.
It's so, sometimes it's so cliche when you hear talent talk about, the concept of if one door closes, another one opens, right? You hear a lot of people say that and hold on to that. But it's so true in so many cases, right? It's like the thing that you thought would end up being the biggest or best thing for you ultimately was a lesson of understanding or struggle. There's always a hidden message in it to set you up for the bigger things. And, in our business, the world of patience is something that is learned, right? You don't come out the gate with it, and you don't come out with the confidence of knowing that eventually my time will come. I'm going to put the work in, and my time will come because I'm talented. I believe in myself. A lot of people quit before those moments actually happen because the frustration sometimes beats the dream. The frustration of fuck this, fuck them. I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of people telling me this. I'd rather just go.
It's a business filled with rejection.
1,000%.
It's a rejecting business. It's a rough business.
Was the firing from the first sitcom, was that your first, do you think that was your toughest moment of rejection?
Okay, so I'm gonna drop a little bomb.
I want the bomb.
I'm gonna drop a little bomb.
Give it to me.
In your golden mines or whatever the fuck it's called. I feel like I'm in a cult. You were in gold mines? Oh, do you have a gold mine, Jamie, now? Am I going to leave here and all of a sudden wear sunglasses? I say this a lot, and again, my apologies to the author because she either hates me or loves me. She either hates me because I use this a lot, or she loves me because I use it a lot. There's a book. It's a novel. It's called Special Topics in Calamity Physics. It's a mystery. It's great. It's about a father and a daughter. It's just a really interesting read. But in the middle of this book, the author talks about this idea of when you're young, when you're starting your life, your career, whatever, you think about it in these sort of gateway marker things of like, what's your first job? How much money you're going to make? Who am I going to get married to? What am I going to do with the thing? How much money am I going to make? That would we think that way. And she says, it isn't. And I quote, she says, life hinges on a couple seconds you never see coming. And what happens in those seconds determines everything from then on. You won't know what you're going to do until you're there. That's what life is. Now, I am telling you, when I say I'm dropping a bomb, I got fired from a TV series. Mm-hmm. I thought my life was over. I ended up auditioning for and starring in this little tiny $300,000 horror film that changed my life.
Wait, what year was this?
1978.
1978.
March of 1978, the movie came out October 30, whatever, that Halloween, of 1978. Changed my life forever, forever, forever. When I die, it will say Halloween actress dies. Done. End of story. But I met my husband that way. I can walk you through a bunch of things that have happened, and I can just tell you about me. I promise you, if I pointed to any one of you, you could tell me a similar story about, it's, you know, what is that, sliding doors? It's the same idea, but it's a profound statement, because what it means is, how do we prepare for life? And you don't. That's the miracle. You can't, but you can hustle. You can put yourself in the path of something. If you just stay in your house and think, I have a lot of talent, but you don't go out and try to hustle it. That's why I love a hustle, because you have to put yourself in the path of success. You can't, success will not come to you. You have to go to it. You have to. You must. So anybody listening here is like, oh, I'm really a great guitar player, and you're playing in your fucking house? Get out of your fucking house. Go to a local restaurant and say, I play guitar. Can I play a set here? I don't know what's going to happen, but maybe somebody's going to walk in and go, hey, I need a guitar player. You're a good guitar player. And the next thing you know, you're making a band, and the next thing you know, you're winning a Grammy. But you're not going to win a Grammy sitting in your house by yourself. You're not. So for me, it's about putting yourself in the path of it. But that Marisha, by the way, the book's author is Marisha Pessl. It's a great book, but in the middle of this book is a life-changing statement of truth, that life hinges on a couple seconds you never see coming. And that changed everything for me. Everything from then on. And when you brought up an Oscar, you think I sat at home thinking, I'm going to win a fucking Oscar. Didn't happen.
No, I did. I've been sitting home trying to attach that thought to a project. It just
no, but
hasn't
guess
happened
what?
yet.
But you're hustling.
Yeah.
So you're not sitting alone in your house saying, I'm going to be, you may have sat in your bedroom as a young man and said, I'm going to be successful. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to, what is it? Rock star shit? What is it?
Comedic rock star shit?
I know, but you were going to add action hero.
I'm adding action hero.
I know. So comedic action hero, rock star shit.
Yes.
Right. Hashtag
it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the thing that
But you may have thought that, but you have actually put yourself in the path of every one of those hashtags.
Well, I thrive off of conclusion. I don't thrive off of concept. Like I thrive off of the conclusion.
Okay.
The actual answer.
It doesn't matter. It means you put yourself in the path.
Absolutely. No, yeah, I'm agreeing. I'm saying
you're not staying in your room thinking that.
No, it's having the thought. I actually had this like conversation in the office the other day. You know, I was talking to some members of my team, and I said, so many people love to use words, right? People love words because you can just say them. So easy to say words. And it's very few people that after they say words, they go do the thing that they just said. Some people just say things for comfort. Oh, yeah, man, I'm thinking about going there tonight. I'm probably going to go over there and eat. Oh, you know what, man? I was thinking about going to go see that movie. Yeah, I heard about that book. I'm going to go read that book. It's so easy to say it and to get a reaction as if you did it. Oh, yeah, I'm going to go to the gym. Oh, yeah, I'm going to get up early tomorrow and I'm probably going to do that. Oh, no, you know what, man? I'm going to take my car down there. It's easy. But when it comes time to actually put the action and initiative behind it, that's where the gap presents itself.
Absolutely.
So I was telling my team, don't be words.
Be
action.
Yeah, baby.
Right? Like it's so simplistic in how I'm presenting it, but it's so hard for people to truly grasp. Action is just so much different because you're not waiting for other people. It's just you, your mind, and the thing you said that you would do. That's the difference. So as Jamie's talking about, like, no, you know, like, I love the hustle. I love the thing. I love the figuring it out. There's people that thrive in not knowing, but say, I'm going to fucking crack the code. And failing while I crack the code is cool because when I crack the code, it's for me. I cracked it. I accomplished the goal. I did the thing. And this business that we're in, man, the cold crackers don't get enough fucking highlight.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get enough highlight. And what I mean by that is like the script writers, the visionaries behind the idea in the beginning that went and got you to fucking write it, and then you to draw it, and then you to hear what I said, and then all of us, okay, say it back. I'm going to record this. Now I'm going to take all of this shit and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say, this is the thing I want to do. And somebody goes, I want to do it with you. And they go, fuck yeah. And before you know it, this thing is up on the big screen. And that movie that people are enjoying and talking and clapping on behalf of, it started in somebody's fucking mind as just a thought. And without the concept of going to get or the action, you don't do it. The action is what fucking separates you.
Sweat equity.
Sweat equity.
Sweat equity.
Sweat equity.
I want to see this sweat equity in people. I don't want to hear the words. I want the actions.
So watch the segue into sweat equity and more conversation attached to it. You said that you're 66. And you're like, oh my God, guys, I'm this. I don't remember this. Oh my goodness, I've been doing this for a long time. At this point in your life, I want to know the joy that you find in the business. I want to know the joy still attached to the craft. Why are you still doing it? What makes you happy or not happy in doing it?
So I learned a valuable lesson recently, which is I am not a recreator. I am a creator. Mm. And it shifted everything for me. Because I'm married someone who is a creator and a recreator, and he loves recreation, loves it. That flips his switch. He's a fisherman and he's a musician, and like that flips his switch. He loves to do it, plays golf, loves it. I do those things because there's something to do to pass some time, and it's a social thing or whatever, and I grew up like doing those things, but they were never in my DNA. They were outside my DNA. I am a creator. I'm a thinker and a creator, and I have been so since I was young, and I just never owned it. Now I own it because I'm going to die soon, and my philosophy...
Well, just wait a minute.
Well, no, I'm telling you.
I know, but don't...
I'm telling you, Kevin Hart. The point of it is, though, it's very important. It's a very important point. Is that, you see, my death won't be sad because I'm an old woman. I've had a beautiful life. I have a family, and blah, blah, blah. It's all great. And I've had unbelievable success, cray success. But you see, the tragedy of my death will be any creativity left in my head that I haven't brought out to have the shot at, as you said, I have an idea, and then it can get built on, and the thing, and then maybe it ends on the screen, and wow, yay. If I don't bring out those ideas, that's the tragedy. So, of course, anybody's death is sad. Sure, human beings, we have feelings. Some people like the people that have died. Oh, I really like them. They're beautiful people. They were kind, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But the real tragedy is the creativity. If you're a creative person, the tragedy is the creativity that dies with you if you don't let it out. And so for me, I wake up turned on by creativity every day. I wake up like this every day. There's not a day in my life where I wake up going like, oh, like I'm turned on. Yeah. And I'm now getting the opportunity because I've now worked for a long time. And now all of a sudden I'm owning it. And now all of a sudden, I'm a boss. Like all of a sudden, I'm a bitch boss, and I like it. And I'm now, thank you, and I'm now taking all of this great opportunity that has come my way and the miracle that has happened from the movies and then the opportunities from the movies. And I have a partnership with a place, like you said, a place that says, we want to work with you. What are your ideas? And from that, I am now getting to produce things. And then one of these things will end up on a screen, and you will get to see my name, and it will say Jamie Lee Curtis, produced by Jamie Lee Curtis. That is because I'm a creative person. I'm constantly creating. And I will create until I die. I will not end with like being one of those people that just drifts away. I'm going to create until I die because that is what turns me on every day.
I love it. I just love your POV. I love how you approach life. I love how passionately you speak about life and your experiences. Just since I've known you, it's listening to you talk is something that I've learned to do very well. Like I just like to listen. For me, I want to know: do you feel there's something that you haven't done that you would like to do?
No, that's my point. You see, I'm now doing it. And by the way, I'm sensitive to the universe, and I'm like, oh, that's a good story. Oh, that's a good story. And I now know how to go to that story and then follow through and then find out about a a book, or read a book, I like whatever it is. I'm not a genius. I'm just using the opportunities that I now have to do. By the way, something I've been doing since I was a teenager. I know it's going to sound awful, but I'm actually about to get a doctorate from the AFI, and that will be this weekend. And the truth is, I'm going to tell them many of the same things I've said here. It's not like I'm some genius who has like a billion ideas. I have a pretty clear idea of what I can say that will help, help people understand things from my perspective. Why am I telling you that? Hold on, I lost the thread.
You were getting a doctorate?
I know, I'm getting a doctorate.
AFI.
I'm getting a fucking doctorate. Yes. Are you kidding me? That's insane. But why was I going to, but there was something from it.
Saying,
I know.
You want me to backtrack? Because I got it all.
I know.
I told you, I'm a fucking listener.
I hear your recall. Huh? It's quite impressive.
I got it.
For a guy with sunglasses. But that's because you're a robot, right? Aren't you a robot of somehow? Somebody said you're a robot?
Some sort, yes.
Yeah, okay. So very you're much. Really not human because you have,
very
but I've seen your
so.
Kids and you're human.
Yes.
So clearly there was a
But
switching of DNA
talking,
and all that stuff.
You were talking about just you actually doing the thing.
I know, about telling... okay, it's gone. But okay. By the way, that happens also. By the way, it's fine. It's all good. Keep going.
Well, all right. Well, I want to... It gives me an opportunity to ask something else that I'm extremely interested in, right? Shifting away from the business now. We get the driven. We see that you're a doer. We understand that you thrive off of creative, and it's not about the recreation, it's about the creation. All of these things that you've highlighted, we understand. Now there has to be something that's a calm. There has to be something that's your step away from this that brings you a significant amount of joy and balance as well. I've heard you mention your husband several times, how you met your husband, the joy, of course, that relationship has brought you, family, etc. What is the thing outside of the machine of the business that Jamie thrives in? Where's your happy of happiest?
Just so you people know who are listening and here in our audience, I met my husband because I saw his picture in a magazine and said out loud to my girlfriend, "Oh, I'm going to marry that guy."
Okay,
swear to you on the life of my children.
I thought she was going to say something else.
No.
I thought she was, I'm going to fuck that. Oh, Jamie.
No,
Jesus.
actually,
Okay.
Kevin Hart.
Okay, all right.
I actually didn't say that.
Okay, all right, okay.
I simply said, literally, I'm telling you the truth. I was sitting on a couch, turned open Rolling Stone. There was a picture of these three guys just looking like regular guys, like in the shirts like you guys are all wearing. And I said to her, Deborah Hill, who wrote and produced Halloween, I literally said, "Oh, I'm going to marry that guy." She goes, "Who?" I said, "That one there. I'm going to marry him." She said, "Oh, yeah, I know him. He's an actor. And I tried to put him in a movie, blah, blah, blah. He's with your agency." I was like, "Oh, I'm going to marry him." And then the next day I called the agent, because that's what you do. And, the guy picked up the phone and immediately was like, "Hi, Jamie, I know all about it, Chris Guest." And I was like, "Okay, that's so uncomfortable. Why do you know that?" And he said, "Deborah Hill called me." And I said, "Okay, hi, here's my number." Gave him my number, left my number. Was like, left my number. He never called me. I dated somebody else. That person wanted to date me. I was kind of like, okay, a nice person. Dated for a couple months. That person left town. I took that person to the airport and dropped them at the airport. Then I went into West Hollywood from the airport and picked up my friend Melanie Griffith and her then husband Stephen Bauer. And we then went to Hugo's restaurant on Santa Monica Boulevard. And I sat down and Chris was sitting what is your name? Ben. Chris was sitting at a table facing me where you are, like that far away, like 2 tables away. And he looked at me and he went like this. And I gestured with my hand and smiled. And then I looked back at him and gestured with my hand and smiled. And then he got up to leave like a minute later. He'd finished his meal. And he stood at his seat. You don't have to stand up. And he shrugged his shoulders and he went like, bye. And I shrugged my shoulders and went bye. And he left. But he called me the next day. And that was June 28th, 1984. He was leaving to do Saturday Night Live for a year, August 8th. That was June 28th. We went out July 2nd. We went on our date. He left to go Saturday Night Live August 8th. So a month later, he left for a year. And I was making the movie Perfect in Los Angeles. And we went back and forth every weekend. We got engaged in September, and we got married that December, 40 years ago this December. But I'm saying that's how life hinges on a couple seconds you never see coming.
Wow.
I did not expect that I was going to see a picture of somebody and say, I'm going to marry that person, and then marry them. 5 months later. I married him 5 months later.
That's insane.
That's how that has applied to my life. So you ask what brings me joy. I wanted a family. I always wanted exactly what I have, which is a husband and children and dogs, and we live in nature, and I have a beautiful family life. But I'm also sober. And that, when you ask me, when you first said, what is that thing that gives you that calm and peace of mind? Sobriety. So I'm a child of addicts. My parents were both alcoholics. I myself is an alcoholic, although very high functioning. You would probably never know it. I was never, thankfully, embarrassed enough to end up with a DUI. But drugs and alcohol were a big part of my life. And I got sober 25 years ago. And that admission of humanness, and then the community of people that I get to be sober with,
Wow.
which are mostly strangers to me, somehow I feel more aligned with people who share that than I do with people who I've known in my life, my whole life. Like, in a weird way, that humility and grace of being able to say, I have a problem and I need help, has changed. That in itself gave me a whole new perspective on a centering that I didn't have prior to that.
So transparent, so authentic, and that's the value of gold mines. I tell you all the time, and this is, of course, to my listeners and, of course, to my live audience. You have no idea the depth to the person behind the microphone. You have no idea, the stories and, more importantly, the life lived. And it's not until it comes out in such seamless ways, or ways that you're witnessing today, that you take it in. You take it in, and you once again go back to the top of the conversation as we're talking about life lived, as we're talking about the beauty of getting older and what that truly does represent. It's experience, it's foundation. Buildings they don't get big overnight. You build them. And the life that she's talking about, that's on display today, is one that was built. I love it. And, I'm sitting here, you were talking about how you met your husband, and I was like, damn, how the fuck did I meet my wife? And I thought about it, and I was like, I think she had passed me something off a shelf because I couldn't reach it. This is like a real story. It was something stupid, at a club in D.C. And I was like, I can't get that. Can you get it? And she got it. And I was like,
and then
cool.
she got it.
Yeah. That's mine's is a little more probably direct. Yeah. Wasn't as
And
romantic.
now look at your family.
Yeah. Now we got a lot of kids.
No. You have a family.
Family. The crazy part? This is like the.
You built a family,
the
and you're building
generational
a
curse.
work family.
Yeah.
And you built a community family here.
Very true. Very, very
in
true.
your cult.
This is not a cult. It's just a room that's dark where we repeat
And
each
you're
other.
wearing sunglasses in it.
Say
It's a fucking cult,
after
Kevin.
each other. It's just a very cool environment.
It is a cool environment, cult.
It's not a cult.
Okay.
We have to talk about Boarderlands, right? I cannot
Because
in this
they
conversation.
will literally kill us both.
No,
there are
can't.
assassins
They will
outside this
not.
door who, if we don't mention Borderlands, will have us killed before we leave the building. Yes, it's true.
I say this with the utmost confidence and in a humble manner. There's no better marketer on the planet than me. Okay? No, there's no better marketer. And, you know, it's not about talking about the movie just to talk about the movie. Guess what? People will care more about the movie when they care more about the people in the movie.
Well, of course,
right
because
now,
it's a movie. It's about human beings.
Yes.
I understand.
So right
and
now,
I spoke to Randy Pitchford.
Did you speak to Randy?
He and I did Gaming Press together.
Oh, really? You was with Randy for like a day?
Randy Pitchford is the man, along with Christy Pitchford, his wife, who created the game Borderlands. And he created the game Borderlands. And he's so fucking articulate about this for a nerdy gaming person who is not, you know, language like that, presentational language is not his strong suit. He's a magician and he's, you know, but he created the game Borderlands because he loved Westerns and he loved sci-fi and he loved role-playing games and he loved first-person shooters. And he said, there's not a mashup. And that's what a borderland is. The borderland is that space between genres that we all occupy because we are all borderlands, just as human beings, because we are all mashups of things. And so he created a game called Borderlands, literally to take things that had never been put together before in a video game and put it, it's like the peanut butter cup. Like whoever invented peanut butter cups, chocolate and peanut butter smashed together. Oh my fucking God, this is the best thing I've ever eaten. So because of that, he created this game. But the movie is an adaptation of the game. We are not a video game. Video games don't have human beings. You, the human being, plays the game. But this is a movie where it's filled with human beings, actors, who are then inhabiting these characters that were written for a video game. So he, by the way, is the biggest fan of this movie because he said, Jamie, I invented the fucking thing. And I totally understand that the movie is separate from the game, but it involves a lot of aspects of the game, but it is not the game. It's an adaptation. So for me, the greatest thing for the audience is anybody who's liked to play the game, you'll like the fucking movie. Mm-hmm. It's not the same thing as the game. It's different, but it's very much in the world of the game. And that's what's so thrilling. And Kevin Hart's in it, by the way, just in case you didn't know. And Kevin Hart gets to add action hero to his comedy rock star horseshit. I'm sorry, entrepreneur bullshit, action hero shit. Hashtag.
I love that. I love that the movie, like, you know, we were on press tour. We did
Comic-Con,
right? Comic-Con. And, you know, it was my first time actually going. You know, in times of old, I was supposed to go to market and promote other things, but my schedule never really worked out, so I never went. And this was the first time I got to go and see fans of this magnitude, right? And it's I want to say this on record. It is a different level of love, of fanfare.
It is fandom. It is
next level.
Next level.
Next level. I'm talking the understanding of the worlds that were created, the understanding of the character story, not just the origin, but the potential connection or connectivity to these people. I mean, they blew me away, and I walked away with a different respect, simply because for you to care that much about someone else's creative is the biggest compliment to any side of creative. For you to be invested for years and years and years into a concept to the point where anything that's outside the lines of what you feel, it deems a debate or a rebuttal.
It's called canon and lore. The canon and lore of these stories is encyclopedic and rigid. This is the way it is. This cannot be changed. That's where people have had to understand that movies are non-binary. The whole idea of Borderlands is non-binary. It's taking different things and smashing them together. So it's interesting that you would bring that up because that's the challenge of a video game adaptation. You've got lore and canon. This is how this is. Mm-hmm. And yet in a movie, it's a whole different animal. And so Randy has worked very hard to make sure that the movie is its own entity.
It's well said.
But that the fandom can still exist with this hardcore binary belief in the history of these games and the history of these characters, that, as you said, people have invested lots of money and lots of time learning that this is the alternate reality to their universe, that this is what's happening on Pandora in Borderlands.
It's so well said, and I just can't wait for people.
It's this Friday.
To see it.
When is this on, by the way? Or is this on now?
Well, yeah, we're going to put it out fast.
No, but I mean, this isn't live.
No, this isn't
okay,
live.
thank God.
But I can't wait for people to see it. You know, like it's good. The movie's good. It checks all the boxes it's supposed to, and it delivers with an action, an intense action, attached to a story that's attached to heart and like strong reason, right? Like you give a fuck about the characters, you give a fuck about the world they were speaking on behalf of, because you understand where it comes from. And for the fans, for the Borderland fans out there was so much conversation attached to why them, why these characters, why this, why that. You know, before you ask the question, you have to have the receipts. You gotta have the receipts to justify your frustration. And the only receipt that you're able to get is the fucking visual of the actual movie in real time. Watch the movie. And then after that, have your opinions. But after watching the movie, I'm very confident when I say that those opinions won't be what you think they will. You're going to be highly entertained. I've seen it. I love it. I love all of the characters that we fucking brought to the table. And I just want to shout them out. I want to shout out Kate.
Oh, don't shout out Kate Blanchett.
Well,
she doesn't need any shouting out. Her name is a shout out. She's just one big fucking bitch of a shout out. She couldn't be, because she's not pretty and not talented. So I don't know why anyone would go to see her in a movie. I'm not sure anyone
so
would ever.
Good. She's so good.
She's just ridiculous. She's a ridiculously talented and beautiful woman. And we've all become friends, and that's been a beautiful benefit. And Ariana Greenblatt, who started the movie when I rapped in Budapest.
She was 6.
No, but you'll remember when I rapped in Budapest, we had her 8th grade graduation.
Yes,
and they played like the pomp and circumstance thing, and she walked down the center of the stage, and we presented her diploma. She had finished 8th grade. And now she's 27.
Yeah, she's
gorgeous.
46.
This gorgeous young woman on the brink of monster stardom. She was in Barbie. You know, she played America's Daughter, and she is just poised for stardom.
She's going to be great.
She's a lovely human being. And then Florian, I'm just Edgar, and then Jack Black, who didn't have to leave his house because he plays the robot. So all he had to do was voice the robot while we all went to Budapest in the middle of COVID. But I don't begrudge him that.
No.
Because he's funny.
You guys, listen, major thank you to Lionsgate for being an amazing partner.
Oh, yeah, this was groovy that you guys put this together. Thank you for having me, Kevin Hart.
No, thank you for being
really happy to be here with you.
Also, Eli, I don't want to not mention Eli Roth, our director. Amazing creative behind the lens as well. But more importantly, just to the fans, right? Like, we don't get the opportunity to have this conversation or to do the movie without the amazing support that was attached to that video game. You're talking over 50 million goddamn subscribers, users, game players, and they're on Borderlands 3, and it's still going. So, you know, to all of you that have supported that game, Randy Pitchford and his entire team, thank you. We thank you. And go see the movie. The movie doesn't disappoint. And Jamie, I wanna end on such a dope note with you. You know, it's crazy at where life takes you. And this is a wrap up. So I'm gonna touch on things and you'll see how they all wrap up. I'm fucking 45 now, and you know, in my days of not knowing what I wanted to do, I saw you on the big screen. I saw you on TV. And, you know, the idea of a movie star was attached to the faces that you saw on the regular. And the fact that I now call you a friend and call you a coworker just shows you how crazy life is, because I had no idea, like you.
I had
that
no idea.
This is what I was going to do. I did not know. And through discovery of stand-up comedy, and now through the discovery...
You do comedy?
That's my other job. Yeah, I do stand-up comedy. I've been telling you that.
Oh, that's what the comedic rock star...
Yeah, comedic. That's it.
Horseshit.
Yes, it's attached to that.
Action hero shit.
Yes, that's what it is.
That's what the hashtag was for.
Yes.
Comedy.
Comedy. That's what I was telling you. But now the fact that I get to say that I had the privilege with working with such a legend, I do not take that for granted.
Neither do I.
I am humbled by it and extremely blown away by your heart and just how gracious you are. And I just thank you for being the definition of a good fucking person.
Thank you, babe.
You're a good person. And
God
I love
bless
you.
you. Thanks, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Gold Minds, and you know what we do here. We get inside the minds of amazing people, and today was no damn different. Oh, so many gems dropped. I hope you did yourself a service and you picked them up. Put them in your back pocket. Whether you use them today or tomorrow, just know that they're there. This is Gold Minds, and I'll talk to you next time. I'm Kevin Hart. Bye.
Peace, everybody.